Hey, David White here. So everyone knows artificial intelligence is changing marketing, has already changed digital marketing. This is one of the biggest disruptors we've had since the launch of the internet many moons ago. And if you know that you should be using artificial intelligence, that kind of begs the question, where do you actually start? And I know that there are probably going to be a lot of different people watching this video, like business owners, content marketers, social media managers, conversion marketers, all sorts of different stuff. There is a framework that you can use to figure out the answer to that question. Where should I start using artificial intelligence in my marketing the way that I do it? So I want to run you through that really quickly. We're going to cover a two-step framework for this that comes from a course that my co-founder at Learn Marketing AI, Hernan Vasquez, and I taught. It's called the Digital Marketer's Guide to ChatGPT. And if you want access to that program, it's really ridiculously helpful. You can get it by clicking on the link in the description of today's video. But with that said, let's get started and go about answering the question for you, the person watching this video. Where specifically should you start with all the stuff that you do over the course of a week with integrating artificial intelligence so it's as easy for you as possible and so you get the best results from getting the robots to help you as possible? So let's head over to the slides here. Generally speaking, here is what digital marketers actually do over the course of an average week. So a digital marketer, first and foremost, can generate an asset from nothing. So that might mean like, hey, there was no blog post, and then I sat down for 3 hours and I wrote, and now there is a blog post. Or it might be, we had no webinar, and then I sat down for a day, and now we have a webinar because I made a thing. Pretty simple there. First thing that digital marketers do is generate an asset. The second thing that we do is we compress an asset into smaller parts. So we might get that blog post and pull out an interesting idea and turn that into an email to send to our list saying, go read this thing. Or we might go through a product and write a sales page about all the features and the advantages and the benefits of that particular product. The third thing that digital marketers do is they divide assets into different assets. So for a YouTube show like this, for example, we may pull clips out of this and share them as shorts. If we have a product, for example, if we have an info business, a digital marketer might pull a module or it might pull services from an offer and turn those into standalone products. And finally, digital marketers create assets that enhance other assets. I'm talking about an infographic for a blog post. I'm talking about a thumbnail or a description for a blog or a YouTube video like this or a podcast. I'm talking about images for a website. So that was something like, we have this webinar. I'm going to write I'm going to write a video script for an ad to drive traffic to the webinar registration page. That's creating an asset that enhances something that you've already built. So these are the 4 things that we're going to focus on when it comes to answering the question, how should you specifically be using artificial intelligence in your marketing? One thing I want to touch on really quickly is that 2 other things that marketers do is they make strategic decisions around, I should be doing X, or I should stop doing this and focus on that instead, or I should change my approach to blogging or social media or what have you. And we do that by analyzing data. Those 2 things at the moment, artificial intelligence tools frankly suck at. So you definitely should not be using artificial intelligence to make any decisions, to come up with strategies, or to try and analyze data and make sense of it, because at the moment, the robots just suck at it. So with that said, knowing that you as a marketer, you generate assets, you compress them, you divide them, and then you create assets that enhance other assets. Here's my suggestion on how you go about integrating artificial intelligence into your average week. And this comes from an idea that I was taught by Frank Kern. If you have not heard of him, you should go and check him out because he taught me pretty much everything I need to know, or everything I do know about marketing. So here it is. This idea is called the money spectrum. And it basically says of all the stuff that you do over the course of a week, we can kind of put that onto a horizontal line like this, and we can split all your activities, all the stuff that you work on, into things that definitely make money, which is over here on the right side of the graph, and then things that definitely don't make money, but you do them anyway. And sometimes there's just stuff that doesn't make money, but you have to do it. For example, showing up to a team meeting. No one's going to pay you to go to a team meeting. No one's going to pay you to fill out a timesheet. No one's going to pay you to help a customer find their lost password or reply to social media comments or anything like that. But generally speaking, you'll be able to split all the activities that you do into this makes money. If I do more of this, we will make more money. And it doesn't matter how much I fill out my timesheet, no one's going to pay us for that service or what it is that I'm doing there. Now, on the right side of the grid, what we can do is split up all the activities that you do that make money into stuff that makes a little bit of money. So that's here. And stuff that makes a whole bunch of money, which would be on the right side of the spectrum. And again, this is not an exact science, but this is just kind of a way of figuring out where should you start. So building a webinar campaign, for example, is a much more effective tool than, let's say, content admin. So that might be something like writing a description for a YouTube video, or plugging in the image for your blog post or something like that. I mean, that sort of stuff, you should be doing it. That is helpful. Having a good YouTube description is better than having no YouTube description, but doing that is nowhere near as effective as working on a webinar campaign. So when you write out what is it that you do that makes money, put it in that sort of an order. Least likely to make a bunch of money to this definitely makes us a lot. And then the final thing I want you to do is underneath each one of these things, which you'll see here, I want you to figure out, generally speaking, on average, how many hours a week are you spending on those things? And is it a generate activity? Is it a compress activity? Is it a creative activity? Or is it a divide activity, which are the 4 things that we spoke about earlier? And where you're going to find the places where you should be starting to use artificial intelligence is what is furthest over to the right of this spectrum. That is a generate tool or a generate activity. So if you generate webinars and you spend 10 hours a week doing that, that's where you should start using artificial intelligence. Get it to help you with ideas for topics. Get it to help you with ideas for scripts. Get it to help you with ideas for emails that you should be sending about it. So what I've got here, let's say we've got a marketer that spends 10 hours a week building campaigns. This is the first place they should start. Then let's say we've got 12 hours a week of writing blog posts. This is the second place that I would suggest that this marketer tries to use artificial intelligence. And once we've kind of filled out all our like high value generate things, then we can go to, all right, where are we working on compressing stuff? So let's say we've got a marketer who spends 3 hours a week on their money spectrum syndicating content, right? I upload a YouTube video or I write a blog and then I pull quotes or clips or ideas out of it and I share it on the Instagrams, I share it on the LinkedIns, I share it on the Tickety Talks and the Tweety Tweets and all the different platforms. Actually, I'm not supposed to call it Twitter anymore. It's X. Share it on X. And that is the third place that I'd be looking to go, or the second place that I'd be looking to go for places where you can implement artificial intelligence. So kind of a weird concept there. You got to split your week up and then you got to look at, where am I spending a bunch of time generating activities or generating assets? And that's the best place to start using artificial intelligence. Then have a look at, where am I spending the most time compressing assets? That's the next place you should look to integrate artificial intelligence. Then have a look at, where am I creating assets that support other assets? And then finally, where am I dividing assets up into different pieces? And that, my friend, is how you go about figuring out the question, where should I specifically, with all the unique stuff that I do over the course of a week, use artificial intelligence the easiest and the most effective way. So if you found this video helpful, again, I know this is kind of a strange idea, and we do go into this more in the Digital Marketer's Guide to ChatGPT. You can access that program with the link in the description below. Hope you found this helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.